So our big news is this. We have on our victory tour our award from APLU to UH Manoa. This is the Association of Public and Land Grant Universities. And they selected UH Manoa this year as the winner of their project degree completion program. While Associate Vice Chancellor Debbie Halbert and I were the two people who got to go up on stage and receive the award in front of 1,400 screaming fans, I do want to acknowledge this is the work of many who came before me. You don't move a 4-year graduation rate in one year. And particularly, I want to thank former Vice Chancellor Reed Dasenbrock, who really put a focus on this for the entire UH Manoa campus and strategic planning process. While I was in Washington, D.C., I visited also with all 4 members of our congressional delegation and their key staff. They were very helpful in scheduling during my short visit. I will say at the top of my agenda was the tax reform bills that you read about every day. Their impact on college students, particularly graduate students, unfortunately would be devastating, absolutely devastating. Impact on higher education institutions would be devastating, and across many dimensions that I won't go into. There is some hope that some of the provisions may be negotiated out. From a pure higher education perspective, I would have to say all of my colleagues in higher education would much rather have no tax reform than this tax reform, given the impact on higher education students and institutions. Our delegates all understood this. They're in varying levels of positions of authority to actually impact that process. Second item that we talked about was the importance of the many federal programs that support Native Hawaiians and other underrepresented students, and these range across the U.S. Department of Education, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, NIH, which helps with health disparities and underrepresented individuals into the workforce. And all of those programs are potentially at risk during the budget processes that are taking place now. And then thirdly, we talked about defense-related programs. It is one of our major funding sources for extramural research and training. And we also paid a visit to the Pentagon to discuss with officials there as well. I will say personally that despite any rumors that you have heard, Senator Hirono was looking good. She met with me, and it was a robust and vigorous meeting. We will arrange a visit to the Cancer Center for her when she is next available here. And I will say that she pursued with me one of the passions that she never neglects to raise with me when we see each other, and that is support for veterans. I did let her know that more federal support would be helpful, but that we are doing what we can and have also been seeking support from the state. And along those lines, we just celebrated Veterans Day last week at UH Manoa. We had an event on campus led by our new Office of Veteran Student Services. Thank you. I think Vice Chancellor Ideta is here somewhere. We have now fully staffed that office with a full-time employee. We had a celebration on the Hawaii Hall lawn, and also honored not only all of our veteran students and veteran alumni, but 13 students who are receiving scholarships through a program out of our School of Nursing and Dental Hygiene that helps bring veterans into the healthcare workforce in Hawaii. And I will say personally, it was especially heartwarming to hear from some of our Vietnam-era veterans who told me that they had not previously felt welcome on campus when they came back from the war and enrolled as students on campus. So it's a great event, and I really want to thank Dean Mary Boland for her leadership in serving veterans on the campus. And in this spirit, I don't know if anybody got to the Go for Broke movie, which was premiered last weekend at the Hawaii International Film Festival. It has substantial involvement of our ACM students who participated in it. In fact, Stacy Hayashi, who's the brains behind that, said she can't imagine she could have done it without our students, and she can't imagine she could have done it with the level of the students even 10 years ago. But the quality of our graduates is really, really increasing and helping her put out, in this case, a real movie. If you get a chance to see it, watch the scene in front of Hawaii where your UH president has a cameo as a random professor greeting young Danny Noe. The film features, more seriously, the Varsity Victory Volunteers. I think many of you know this is a group of amazing Japanese-American UH students who took up for the call for action after Pearl Harbor, even when their country was unwilling to trust them. And this story was eloquently told at our Veterans Day event by our keynote speaker, retired Brigadier General Jim Harai of the Daniel K. Noe Asia Pacific Center for Security Services, who is himself one of our distinguished alumni. Moving along, as soon as we finish the press release, we have two large organizations involved, but we will be announcing that UH and the Hawaii Electric Industries have committed to collaborate in the development of a new approach to renewable energy initiatives. We're calling it the Green-tariff initiative. What that's really about is helping us get toward net zero by developing alternate energy facilities on our lands, but not necessarily consuming that energy at the location where it is produced. It would be subject to approval by the Public Utilities Commission, and we're looking at, for the university, improving our sustainability and moving toward our fossil-free goals. We're also looking at how to lower our energy costs, and working with the public utility on grid modernization, storage ideas, workforce training, and research. So bringing essentially the capacity of the university to bear with them while addressing our goals. The action out of this is really to establish a serious working group to work through the details and the finances of it, but we're optimistic that we can put something in place working collaboratively with them. One of the challenges for critical infrastructure in many sectors is, of course, cybersecurity. And I'm proud to report this is something we are addressing as a system, and we had a joint team of students from UH that just placed third in one of the national cybersecurity competitions. This was a group of our students and alumni combined from Honolulu Community College and UH West Oʻahu, which is one of our critical cybersecurity education and training pathways. While we're disappointed with third, first place was taken by the U.S. Military Academy at West Point. So the competition was pretty formidable, and we can be really proud of our HCC and UH West Oʻahu students. And by the way, our team did its work at UH West Oʻahu's newly named James and Abigail Campbell Library. On that side of the island, last month we opened Leeward Community College's Waiʻanae Moku. Thank you, I think Regents Putnam and Tagorda were both there to help us celebrate. That's our first permanent facility on the Leeward coast, which has been traditionally one of the most underserved areas of the state. And I'm happy to report we continue to focus on that area. The U.S. Department of Education just awarded UH West Oʻahu $2.7 million in a federal Gear Up program. This is a program we've been participating in for years. And this is focused 100% on helping students prepare for and succeed in post-secondary education. It's a 7-year grant, and we'll be working with high schools and reaching down further with tutoring, career guidance, advising, financial literacy, some early college, and mentoring, starting with 7th graders and then working up through their first year of college. And this has been remarkably successful, producing valedictorians in the high schools and getting students into college over the past 7 years, and that evidence of success is part of what helped us get the next grant. We also reported this month about $1.75 million in new grants to both UH Manoa and UH West Oʻahu from the U.S. Department of Agriculture as part of their work to strengthen the capacity of Alaskan and Native Hawaiian serving educational institutions to reach underserved students and prepare them for careers in food, agriculture, and natural resources. West Oʻahu received about $400,000, and that will help them develop pathways, including into the high schools, to recruit and retain Native Hawaiian and underrepresented students into the Sustainable Community Food Systems program, which is their flagship program in agriculture and food sciences. And then there's about $1.3 million, which is awarded to the UH Manoa College of Tropical Ag and Human Resources, but that's actually for a program, a partnership of 8 UH campuses and the Agribusiness Incubator Program. So it's a statewide initiative to strengthen local agriculture and food production, workforce through education and training, and expand agriculture and food production through more productive agribusinesses. So that's the kind of work that goes on, and those are some of the programs that we're continuing to support with our congressional delegation. Along the lines of agriculture, I am proud to report that cacao beans from the University of Hawaii cacao trial that began in 2005 were among the 18 international winners. They won the Asia Pacific and Australia category, and this is a project again out of CTAR. Unfortunately, they did have to travel to Paris to receive their award. But this is a credit to, some of you may know, longtime faculty member Skip Bittenbender, who focuses on cacao, kava, and coffee, so 3 high value and high importance food crops. And he's involved his grad students in this program. One of his grad students who was involved in this project is now an international cacao consultant. So let me say a little bit now. We did not get this onto the agenda formally, but what I'm really focused on over the course of this year, and we discussed it a little, but I think it's useful to also share it publicly. And my work over this year and my major priorities are guided by the strategic directions and the integrated academic and facilities plan. First is strengthening enrollment management and developing distance learning programs across the system to enhance our recruitment of traditional and non-traditional students, but also undergraduate persistence and retention, again, of traditional and non-traditional students. In the area of innovation, we are looking at stemming the decline in extramural research and restoring growth. I will say today was the first day I get a daily report. Thank you, Vice President Sirmos. Today was the first day this fiscal year that UH Manoa, the total extramural awards exceeded last year's as of today. And we're focusing that in areas of competitive advantage and need for UH and Hawaii. And this year, some of you have commented on the new hire that will be joining us at what is currently our Office of Tech Transfer and Economic Development, and focus on rebuilding that to be more engaged, responsive, and effective. In the area of facilities, we are very focused on planning guided by the IAFP and working on our campuses, in particular at UH Manoa, at UH West Oʻahu, and at Hawaii Community College. We have a desperate need for holistic campus plans to guide inspiring and cost-effective futures. And those are our high priorities while continuing to attack the condition of our facilities through a holistic renewal, investment, and modernization program. At the same time, we're looking at how to leverage our real estate assets, including through public-private partnerships, to address our needs and generate revenue that can support our requirements. In the area of high-performance mission-driven system, in my dual capacity, I'm working hard at the changes that were identified for UH Manoa, and I thank Christine Sorensen for mentioning this. One of the priorities is working through the issues of the Manoa campus organization. As she noted in her testimony, there tends to be agreement that there should be a reorganization. There tends not to be agreement about what that should look like. I have discussed it both with the SEC. I meet regularly with the deans, of course, with the vice chancellors, and I will be holding a public forum on the Manoa campus to unveil some ideas. And again, the idea is to have a formal proposal ready to be processed during the spring. The details have not been determined, but overall the work is to prepare the campus so that the next non-interim chancellor can be successful. I'm also working at, along with the task group, thank you Chair Sullivan and Regents Higaki and Vice Chair Moore, who's not with us today, on our relationship with the UH Foundation, so that we can do better at philanthropy in addressing our needs and lessen our reliance for growth on state appropriations, and certainly not looking at tuition increases as a source of revenue growth. Continuing our work to be a model Indigenous-serving institution, and in particular focusing on the system-wide leadership of our Hawaiʻi Papaʻokeʻau group, strengthening that and our partnerships with Kamehameha Schools and the Polynesian Voyaging Society and others in the community, believe it or not, including OHA. Continuing to advance our sustainability initiatives through our System Office of Sustainability and with our campus leaders. And when I say leaders, I mean students, faculty, staff, and executives who are advancing effective practices across the system, and continuing work with the leadership team overall and the broader UH community to implement the IAFP, which is new. And believe it or not, the strategic directions are now approaching their midway point. So we're looking at a refresh of both particularly the tactics and potentially also the metrics. And we would bring that back to the board for review. Our goal is this academic year. Finally, before I turn it over to Chancellor Dykstra, let me comment on one sad note. Many of you will have seen the passing of Billy Richardson this month. Billy was an accomplished entrepreneur, lawyer, teacher, passed away November 10th at the age of 62. He was a trustee of the University of Hawaii Foundation. When called on, he agreed to serve as interim director of our Office of Tech Transfer and Economic Development for almost 2 years. Just a few years ago, when I first began as interim president, he worked closely with our Accelerate UH Proof of Concept Center, which has been amazingly effective and just won its 3rd national award in a row from the Small Business Administration, which is helping prepare cohorts from here at UH, our faculty and students and alumni, to learn to commercialize their UH-inspired ideas and technologies. He was, of course, the son of the late Chief Justice William S. Richardson, the founder and namesake of our School of Law. A regular supporter of the school, and he was often called on to speak to incoming classes where Dean Melody McKenzie characterized him as offering witty, loving, and insightful stories about his father's vision in the early days of law school. He will be deeply missed by many of us who he touched across UH in the state.